Hi, good evening, everyone. This evening, I would like to take a bit of your time to present my paper on the impact of corporate social responsibility on financial performance among the listed domestic-owned insurance companies in Malaysia. This study provides a new empirical substantiation and a better understanding as well as a grounding factor for many CSR disclosures for firms, especially in the insurance sector. At the same time, it also highlights how such disclosures impact the firm performances, especially in the insurance sector in Malaysia. This study provides a significant contribution on whether CSR disclosures will affect financial performance in the Malaysian insurance firms or not, as well as it provides a methodological contribution, especially on CSR disclosures, by initiating a new method which is applying the GRI CSR index. This study also strives to generate a very sturdy consciousness among the Malaysian insurance companies and as well as its regulating bodies or any other related practitioners on developing in developing countries, which is mainly aimed at comprehending the fundamentals of sustainable development, which can be achieved through the corporate performances and also allows corporations to contribute back profits and non-financial benefits positively through the stakeholders into the existing community. So on this study, the literature mainly focuses on the definition of corporate social responsibility as well as the evolution of corporate social responsibility, the development from a philanthropy to CSR, as well as the dimensions of CSR theories. When we talk about CSR theories, this paper focuses mainly on a stakeholder theory, legitimacy theory, and it focuses on some of the ways how the CSR disclosure practices has been handled by different corporates in different sectors. What is the trend of CSR in developed countries as well as the CSR in developing countries, and narrowing down the focus onto Malaysia, where what is the trend of corporate social responsibility studies in particular to Malaysian film. Basically, in Malaysia, the areas of CSR has been focusing mainly on employees' welfare, responsive to consumer complaints, maintaining product and service quality to the consumers, ensuring product safety, as well as donation to different welfare organizations. So, in this study, we have strived to step out from the normal norms into different elements of CSR outcomes. CSR in Malaysian insurance companies has been one of the most understudied field, where at that point of time where this study was conducted, there were many studies was done by many scholars, as well as even though there are few regulating guidelines by Bank Negara Malaysia or the State Bank of Malaysia onto the disclosure of CSR elements in their annual report, but we found out that there are many laggings on these particular elements. So further focusing on to the financial performance, CSR and financial performance, what's the link about it? So the literature also focused on that element. CSR disclosure index, as well as some of the elements of the CSR disclosure index, which is the GRI index, which comprises of around 10 elements of it. Okay, the conceptual framework of this study affixed the independent variable as the corporate social responsibility and dependent variable as the financial performances of the firms, where we strive to understand the outcome of financial performance through studying the earning per share, return on assets, as well as return on equity. So the hypothesis of this study was on to finding whether there is a positive or negative relationship between CSR disclosure and firms' financial performance into that three elements that I mentioned, which is EPS, ROA, and ROE. So in chapter 3, basically we talked about the mixed method of research, where that research design has been handled in this study. So talking about mixed method into more detail, we adopted into a sequential exploratory design, which talks about obtaining the qualitative data collections and analyzing it and building it further into quantitative data collection and analyzing it through the GRI CSR disclosure index before interpreting the results. So the primary data was handled for this study, where to say the primary data sources without any filtering from the different insurance companies. Talking about the primary data here, we adopted into annual reports of 13 domestically owned listed insurance companies for the time frame of 9 years, starting from year 2008 to 2017. And also we adopted formulas for calculations, especially on the financial performances on return on assets ratio, return on equity, earnings per share. The outcomes of this study indicated a very poor indication, or the poor results, especially on the relativity of CSR disclosure as well as financial performance. Talking about CSR disclosure, on the disclosure part itself, the Malaysian insurance companies have scored very low marks as per GRI disclosure index, where the subsequent effect of the financial performance of these companies was very hard to notice. So this study also have given many implications, especially to different regulating bodies, and also regulating bodies that is directly or indirectly involved with these insurance companies. For example, talking about Malaysian Accounting Standards Board, MASB, where along with the Security Commissions of Malaysia, where they can come out with in combination with Bursa Malaysia, they can come up with different elements on how they can further improve the disclosure of CSR elements by insurance companies. And also the results of this study suggested that many company executives and managers, especially on the insurance sector, their role was not significantly noticed in the annual reports in relation to the CSR practices or CSR activities. The effect of CSR initiatives could be a time variant, but it is not a stationary in Malaysia, where in that case, consumers' perceptions or employees' education levels regarding the CSR investment could change over the time, as do the effects of CSR disclosures in the different elements. So in the end of this video, I've presented the link that can help you to study this paper in detail, in total about 114 pages. Hopefully it gives you a bit of idea about what is the corporate social responsibility practices by the insurance companies in Malaysia. Thank you for your time.